Selling to a new country? I missed these 3 cultural rules. My name's Luca. I'm 38, based in Milan, and I run a small but thriving business selling ergonomic desks. After years of trial, error, and late-night warehouse runs, I finally cracked the European market. Spain took off first, then Germany followed. I thought I'd figured it out, the right balance of modern design, clean branding, and solid social proof. So when I decided to expand into South Korea, I didn't hesitate. Same website template, same ad style, same influencer unboxing videos. We translated the copy, ran a few local focus group surveys, and launched. I felt confident. Korea's digital-savvy culture, love of productivity gadgets, and fast e-commerce adoption seemed like a perfect match. We pressed go on our paid ads and SEO campaigns. I even had a local fulfillment partner lined up to ensure fast delivery. We'll be scaling in a month, I told my team. The homepage was sleek, muted grays, minimalist icons, sharp product renders. I used the same tone I'd used in Europe's, lightly cheeky, friendly, focused on self-improvement. The main video ad featured me, personally, walking through the benefits of our design. It had worked brilliantly in Spain, but in Korea? Silence. The analytics dashboard lit up with impressions, but barely any clicks. My bounce rate spiked. Sales? A handful in the first 2 weeks. My local logistics partner politely asked if I wanted to reduce warehouse space. That stung. I brushed it off at first, maybe just a slow start. Maybe the market was crowded. But deep down, I had a sinking feeling. Something wasn't clicking. I rewatched the ads, read through the Korean translated copy, looked at the customer flow. Everything looked fine. But if the numbers were this quiet, something was definitely off. I sat in my kitchen, coffee in hand, and stared at the screen. This worked before, I whispered. So why not now? The answer would come, but only after I realized. Launching into a new country isn't about translation. It's about transformation. By week 3, the silence wasn't just eerie, it was deafening. I sat at my desk one morning watching the numbers crawl in. Website traffic? Low. Ad click-through rate? Even lower. Conversion rate? Practically flatlined. The few orders we did get were mostly returned with vague reasons like not what I expected or style didn't match. Nothing specific, nothing useful. My local distributor in Seoul finally sent me a message. Luca, people are visiting, but they're not staying. And when they do buy, they seem unsure. Unsure? How could anyone be unsure? The product worked. The site was clean. The reviews were real. I'd invested months building up a trustworthy brand. Our European customers praised the exact same desks for comfort and simplicity. They loved the tone, the packaging, the DIY instructions. Why wasn't it translating? I refreshed the dashboard for the 10th time that morning. The numbers didn't change. I opened our Korean ad campaign report. The headline, Power Up Your Workflow with Style. CTR? 0.32%. Terrible. Even our influencer partner, a productivity YouTuber based in Busan, posted a story but didn't tag the brand. When we asked why, she replied, audience didn't relate to the messaging. I rubbed my temples, annoyed but also genuinely confused. Same offer, same value. What's going wrong? Frustration crept in. I started second-guessing every decision. Should we have used a different video format? Should I have hired a translator instead of using a freelancer? Should we have led with pricing instead of lifestyle benefits? I even began to doubt the product itself, something I hadn't done in years. Maybe we're not as universal as I thought, I muttered. At night, I was restless. I kept rereading emails, watching the campaign videos, scrolling Reddit forums about Korean consumer habits. Still, nothing clicked. I felt like I was missing a piece of the puzzle everyone else seemed to understand. I messaged one of my Korean contacts, a former design student I'd worked with years ago. Can you look at the site and tell me what feels off? He agreed, but his reply the next day made me pause. It looks clean, but it feels Western. Like it's trying to sell to someone who isn't me. That sentence hit me harder than any analytics dashboard. I wasn't just dealing with a marketing problem, I was dealing with a culture gap. A deep, invisible one I hadn't even considered. And for the first time since launch, I stopped trying to fix the campaign and started asking how to understand the customer. Luca sat in a quiet cafe in Seoul, nursing a flat white and staring at his own website on a borrowed tablet. Around him, the low hum of conversation blended with the soft clink of cups. But his mind was loud with questions. He tapped through the product pages. Everything looked sleek, modern, just like it had in Spain, Germany, and the UK. But this time, something felt off. The Korean translation was technically correct, but the tone, it didn't match the local sites he'd seen. His own headline, "Take control of your space," suddenly sounded too aggressive. He noticed Korean competitors used softer, more community-oriented phrases like "designed with your well-being in mind." His copy? All assertive calls to action, too bold, too Western. Then he opened the launch video, him speaking directly to camera, walking around his flat, showing off desk features. He'd filmed it with charm and confidence. It had worked well in Europe. But from the corner of his eye, he saw a young couple at the next table glance over at his screen and whisper. They weren't smiling. If anything, they looked uncomfortable. He realized the casual, selfie-style, talking head video might come off as unprofessional or overly personal in a market where modesty and formality are valued more. And the product shots? Close-ups of solo work setups. No team, no shared spaces, no social harmony, just individualism. Something that might feel too detached here. That's when it hit him. Maybe it's not the product, it's me. He'd assumed his way of doing business could travel as is. Same visuals, same language rhythm, same structure. But South Korea wasn't just a different market, it was a different mindset. Luca sat back in his chair, suddenly aware that he'd never asked what a Korean customer actually wanted from a desk or a brand. He'd broadcasted when he should have been listening. It wasn't just a few tweaks he needed, it was a new lens altogether. Luca scheduled a call with a local UX designer, Jae-soo, who had worked with international brands adapting to Korean markets. He also brought in a cultural consultant, Min-jae, hoping they could help him understand where his launch had gone wrong. Within minutes of reviewing his site, Jae-soo raised the first red flag. Your headline, "Take control of your space," that might work in the West, where autonomy is celebrated, she explained. But here, the workplace is deeply hierarchical. A younger employee wouldn't dream of rearranging their desk without a manager's approval. Luca blinked. That had never even crossed his mind. Then Min-jae chimed in, "The black and white, ultra-minimalist design, while trendy in Europe, can feel cold here. People like a sense of comfort, harmony, even cuteness. We prefer friendly over sleek." She showed him examples of successful Korean e-commerce pages. Pastels, smiling models, even cartoon mascots. Luca's site, with its industrial fonts and moody product shots, felt more like a tech-noir trailer than a furniture store. Still, the third insight stung the most. Jae-soo said gently, "Your video, where you walk and talk directly to the camera. It's very Western YouTuber energy. In Korea, that level of self-focus can come off as a bit showy. There's a strong value on modesty here. People don't want to be sold to by someone talking about themselves. They want to see how the product serves the group." Luca sat in silence for a moment. All his efforts crafted with confidence and experience had been speaking a completely different language. He translated his content into Korean, yes, but not into Korean culture. "I thought I was being authentic," he admitted, "but maybe I was just being unaware." Min-jae nodded. "You were being you, and that's fine. But to connect, you have to be curious too." That stuck with Luca. Not just in terms of business, but in how he'd approach people. He hadn't asked what his customers needed, he'd told them what he thought they wanted. And in doing so, he'd missed them entirely. The conversation lasted over an hour. They mapped out small shifts, changing tone, adding local testimonials, reworking the visual identity to feel warmer. But the real change had already happened in Luca's mindset. He wasn't here to export his brand. He was here to invite people into it. And that meant learning the local way without ego, without shortcuts. Luca didn't sulk. He started taking notes. Serious ones. First, he rewrote his website's main message not for the customer, but for the decision maker. The original copy was all about the you of the buyer. You'll feel better, you'll work smarter, you'll enjoy sleek design. But his consultant reminded him, in Korea, most purchases go through team leaders. They care about how the team benefits, not just one person. So he revised, improve your team's posture, boost collective productivity, designed for harmony in your workspace. Then he tackled the visuals. Gone were the dark grays, solo workers, and minimalist industrial shots. In came warm lighting, clean but welcoming desk setups, and groups of co-workers interacting around the product. They even staged a team meeting scene with the desk placed centrally, subtle but effective. Next, the video. The old one had Luca speaking directly to the camera, casually explaining the desk's features in English. It had done well in Germany. But in Seoul, crickets. His consultant explained why direct self-promotion like that can feel too personal here. It's not about you, it's about the collective benefit. So Luca stepped back. He hired a Korean voiceover artist to narrate a new version of the video. Instead of highlighting himself or his origin story, the video showed how the desk supported group harmony, proper posture, and visual order values that aligned with local expectations. No big relaunch. No grand announcement. Just small, respectful updates. And then sales began to trickle in. First, 1 order, then 2, then 5 in a week. Nothing dramatic, but steady. The feedback shifted too. Customer service emails came in polite, thoughtful Korean, expressing appreciation for the tone and clarity of the website. One even read, "Your product looks like it belongs in our office. Thank you for seeing us." His local distributor called with a grin in his voice, "Now it's working." Luca leaned back in his co-working space in Lisbon, smiled to himself, and muttered, "It wasn't just the language, it was the culture." He hadn't changed the product, but he had changed everything about how he presented it. Not to impress, but to connect. And that's when he truly understood the core rule of cross-border business. Don't just translate, transform. Moral lesson. When you sell across borders, don't just translate, transform. Respect builds trust. CTA ending. Follow for more real stories of cross-border business lessons. Subscribe for tips that help your global strategy click.